Hello there people, it's the 16th of June 2020 and here you are with Dan in Essex, UK. So the main purpose of my channel is to show people how to grow their own fruit and vegetables, no matter what size garden, allotment or growing space they do indeed have. So boy have I got a lot to show you this evening. I'll put the camera down there, look, so you can just see what the polytunnel is looking like. There's really just some amazing stuff going on. So we're going to start down the other end with the melon project. Okay, so many of you are aware I've got an assortment of varieties down here. The vines are really loving it. They are just growing by the day now. The watermelon plants have also started to grow, so very happy. They were a bit slower off the mark than some of the other melon plants, but I was expecting that. And the bitter melons, otherwise known as bitter gourds, down here, very popular in Asian cuisine, and they also said to have properties beneficial to those who have diabetes, so I'll let you check that one out if you want. Now, with regards to the melons, I'm thinking about not hand pollinating them. The way you pollinate melon plants is you take the male flower and you rub it on the female flower. But what I'm thinking about doing is actually just leaving it to the hoverflies that come in here, the bees and the flies and things like that. So I'll leave the door open on the polytunnel so they can come in. That way, if I do it that way and I get some success, more people may consider growing melons because they won't think they have to employ the potentially time-consuming activity of hand pollination. Just a general idea, let me know what you think about that. So yes, quite happy with how they are doing. Now the banana plant, dwarf Cavendish, looking absolutely fantastic, really rocking it does down here. When it gets warm in here, I can just almost see, I've seen this thicken up, really sturdy now, and I love it. And here, the date palms looking brilliant, and the clementines as well, little seedlings. really happy. The blood orange tree, I've got to give this a bit of TLC, but they do naturally shed some leaves. You can see new leaves are coming on here, so I'm not too worried about that. Now, the yuzu, you may remember this really did not look, it looked very unimpressive earlier in the season, but now it's fantastic. It's look at it, I mean, lovely. Put out some leaves, look, new fresh leaves, and with that also little yuzus have formed. I'm just trying to get them into focus. You can see them, look, like there, look, there, and I think there was one, yeah, one down there, was two down there, so there we go, another one there, so maybe five or so potential yuzus on that yuzu tree. So very happy about that. Many of you are aware that I had some spuds the other day, some first early potatoes, variety Swift. So maybe I'm going to start having some more of those because they were absolutely delicious. These onions are ready to harvest now, so I'm probably going to start pulling them out and having more fresh onions. Now down here, strawberries. So every evening I'm having like loads of strawberries, have been for the last few weeks. Now this variety here, Royal Sovereign, I'm going to recommend people buy this if they want a really lovely old-fashioned tasting strawberry. Okay, reminds me of being a child on the pick your own farms. You know, obviously we do quite often look back, you know, nostalgic to our childhood, don't we? Particularly things like strawberry picking and that. But really lovely taste that just brings back those days. Now, they're not said to be a heavy cropper, but actually I've been quite impressed with the amount of crops that have come off of these. And I've got them in these containers and they've done really well. So Royal Sovereign if you want a really good old-fashioned delicious strawberry. Now the ginger plant, well, there you go. I mean, look at that. Can't really say too much about it, can I? Look at that, doing really well. I started off probably about 9 weeks ago, something like that, and I put it in this pot a few more weeks, you know, about probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, something around those lines. This bit here grew pretty quick actually after planting it, but these two have come up within the last probably week or so, something like that. So very happy with how the ginger's coming. I'm looking to a nice big root there by the end of the year. And you can see variety Onavec peppers. I mean, these are just lovely. These are, look at these, are chilies. These are just look at that one. Look at the size of that. I mean, they're just absolutely fantastic. They're going to be amazing. They are. Don't know how hot they are. I'm not brave enough yet to eat one of them sort of raw. Maybe when I have a session one night with some beer, I might, I might, have a bite of one of those and see what they're like. I mean, that's always a. I'm not going to recommend anyone does that though, because that can be quite unpleasant. Okay, so Dan's little garden here. So, right, there we go. Now, what have we got? So, dwarf beans. These are variety tender green. Not going to be too long now until there's some good crops. I treated them for black fly yesterday, but more has appeared, which does happen. And the runner beans at the back there, really, really up the cane. You may remember when I planted those a few weeks ago. Tomatoes down here. And what have we got? These are just growing really, really quick. These are courgette variety zucchini. I'll go over here to the blueberries. There you go, look at them, look. Massive crops of blueberries. Seems to be a very good year for fruit this year. I'm not so sure if it's going to be a good year for veg, you know. I hope it is, but I don't know. But certainly with regards to fruit, they seem to be doing very, very well. So what I've done is given them their ericaceous feed. They require ericaceous growing medium between 4.5 and 5.5 pH. I spoke a lot about that in the past, so I won't get too much into that today. Down here, what have we got? More runner beans. I did notice, yeah, here you go, my first dwarf bean. Look at that, look, formed there. So there we go. So really another one there. Not going to be too long before they're ready. A good thing about dwarf beans is they can actually crop about 8 or so weeks after planting them. So they're very quick cropper. The bush varieties anyway. Yeah, so this is an absolutely beautiful sight. The cherry tree variety Stella, I've covered it up because the birds appeared to actually be leaving the cherries alone, but I found a pigeon was quite happily decimating the crop here, and I really don't want to lose it, so I've covered it over. But you can just see through there that this tree is carrying a huge crop. So I probably lost a few to the pigeons, but they're all covered now. So hopefully going to get a good crop of cherries this year. Right, now here in the permaculture polytunnel food forest project. This is a 3 metre by 2 metre polytunnel. You can just look at these grapes. They're just absolutely loving it in here. I mean, look at them. And I'll show you here now. The peaches are starting to ripen now. You can see the colour of them. Going to probably be about, maybe 3 weeks or so before these are edible, but they are variety Dixie Red. What I'm probably going to do is start watering this. This one, look at that. Look at that. That won't be too long now. They're getting bigger. And these ones here. I may be a little bit off the mark. I really should have watered this tree earlier on in the season, but they are starting to swell a little bit now. So I'm going to have a good crop of cherries this year. Peaches this year. So you can just see, like a collection of them here. Look. There we go, and you can see the collection all over the show. There's over 20 or 30 peaches here, so that's going to be grand when they come. Load more here as well. So it's looking like it's going to be a good harvest. When I harvest some of these, I'll do a separate video because the growing of peaches to some people still sort of eludes them, but it's very, very possible to grow here. No problem at all, as long as you avoid peach leaf curl. And pears variety Concord, going to have absolutely loads of those this year. Really, really happy with how they are turning out. And the more grapes here. Now, what I've got here, these are Lakemont seedless, but what I'm going to do is start removing some leaves soon when the bunches start to swell, so that the sun can hit them and the sweetness of the sugar content of the grapes will increase, and therefore sweeter grapes. So that'll be very, very good. I am considering getting into wine making. I'm not sure if that's the best thing for someone like myself to get into, but I think it's certainly an interest, if nothing else. But yes, it is a consideration. Blackcurrant. The old ribena going on. Now, if you've got an apple tree or a fruit tree like this one, little gala apple that I bought from Aldi years ago, not the most robust looking specimen, but it crops well. I need to start giving it some water. So if you've got the little apple tree like this that's looking a bit sorry for itself, start giving it a bit of water and you can swell the fruits. And this tree in the past, in a previous location, has given 7, 8, 9, 10 quite big apples in the season. Very tasty as well. Down here, got a bit more of the old squashes going on. These are courgettes, and at the back there, you can see a pumpkin plant. So there we are. Now the tayberries, I'm not going to show off. Absolutely delicious. Look at those. Right, yes, so the video is getting a bit long now, so there we go. I hope you enjoy my work. If you like my stuff, you can check me out on Dan_Home Gardens on Instagram, and of course, please feel free to like, share and subscribe. See you next time, and I hope you enjoyed that update.